Hi, Mike here. You're watching Scout Restoration Yukon. In this video, rear axle 6, crown and pinion, I installed the new pinion with original shims. I add shims until I have the right preload. Then I install the new crown gear into the carrier and install the carrier into the housing. I will show all the details. I hope you like it. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow over and out. Hi, Mike here. Now I will install the new pinion into the Dana 44 case. Because I don't have a pinion depth gauge, and because my new pinion has no numbers like +2 or -2 or 0 that would enable me to mathematically calculate the correct shim thickness to achieve the right pinion depth, I will be using the gear pattern method, trial and error. I will install the pinion with the original shims. When I install the carrier, I will be able to check the backlash and apply gear marking compound. When I read the pattern, it will show me if the pinion is too deep, too shallow, or the correct depth. Let's get to work. This is the new pinion. This is the new bearing I just pressed onto it. These are the shims, 54 thou thick, off the old pinion, the original pinion for this housing. Right? The first thing I'm going to do before I install it, with a little paintbrush here, I'm just going to lightly lubricate with the gear oil this bearing. On final assembly, I just dip the whole thing in gear oil, but that's not what I'm doing right now. I just want to lightly lubricate the bearing, right, and lightly lubricate these splines. I'm inserting the pinion into the casing, pushing it through the other side. And I've already lubricated the other bearing. Pinion bearing, oil slinger, yoke, washer, nut. No seal, because this will probably all have to come apart again. And what I've noticed is that this bearing is tight on the pinion shank. That's why I'm using a ratchet by hand to feel how tight it actually is. It doesn't seem too bad. There, get the pipe wrench on there. So the bearing is going on. It's just the same consistent, steady pressure. It's not getting tighter or anything. It's just an extremely tight fit. Now, that is snug right up. And I've already got a drag on here. So I'm not going to torque it. I'm not even going to really tighten it very much. This is just round one. But I am going to hit it with the impact. Tighten it up a bit more. Yeah. See now, just with that little bit on the impact, too tight. So this pinion is way too tight. So I have to remove it and add shims. There we go. Nut, yoke, washer. Now I'm going to have to drive that back through the bearing because the bearing was tight. I'm just going to try hitting it with a dead blow hammer. It's moving. It's just a little tight on the shaft. There. There's the nut. And here's the bearing with the shims on it. Right. Here's the original shims, and they're 54 thou. These are the shims that came in the kit. And they're the same ID, and there's smaller OD, but it doesn't really matter. So they don't seem to have a thick one. I was going to try to use only new shims. So I'm just going to put them all together. I'm going to measure them. Measure that whole pack together just to see what I get. 78 thou. So 54 thou, and it's too tight. So let's take one out and see what we've got now. 56. So I think I'm going to try that. So I'll put that back on the pinion. We'll try that again. Bearing, oil slinger, yoke, or washer, nut. I'm just going to tighten this slowly by hand again. Now, not bad, but I didn't really tighten it. I'll put the impact on there. It's too tight. There's the nut, the yoke, the washer. 56 plus 12. That would give us 68. Okay. Try again. Now, I'm going to try 68 thou. Shims, bearing, oil slinger, yoke and washer, nut. We'll drag, impact. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Around 28 pounds of drag. You can spin it easily, but when you go like that, it doesn't keep spinning on its own. So it's got a preload. So that's the preload set, but we don't know yet if the pinion depth is right or not, because we just guessed with using the previous shims on the inner bearing. So we won't really know about that until I install the carrier and mark the gears. So that's it for now for the pinion. Now the power lock is assembled with the new clutches. That's all ready to go. The bearings are installed. It's time to replace the crown gear. So I'm going to remove this crown gear, clean up the mating surfaces, clean out the threads. I'm reusing the bolts. So I'm going to put red permanent Loctite on the bolts, right, and then torque it. So let's get to work. I'm removing the 10 ring gear bolts. This differential has been worked on before. The bolts may have previously been replaced. I'm just going to try tapping the edge of this with a brass punch, and it's coming off easy. So here's the old gear. It's completely useless. It's too damaged to use for anything else. I'll just put it together with the old pinion. Attention fellow Scout enthusiasts. Thanks for watching. I hope that you're getting useful insights from my videos. If I can earn 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to create Scout videos for a long time. Please like and subscribe so that we can continue this journey for years to come. I will show all the details. Over and out. This is my new crown gear. Note it has the correct gear ratio on it. So just because it's new doesn't mean I can trust everything. So I have to check everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is chase these threads. The 7/16 fine tap, bottoming tap. I'm just going to chase all these threads so I know where I'm at, right? Takes a little bit of time, but it's better to know the threads are unobstructed and everything's going to go together nicely and get an accurate torque, right? Okay, I'll just blow all these holes out with the air. Now, in order to have clean mating surfaces, I'm spraying this with brake clean. Just going over it with a toothbrush. One more time. Make sure it's all smooth. I'll blow that out one more time. And check this. Feel if there's any burrs or anything here. Seems good. I'm going to spray it with the brake clean. Wipe it with the clean paper towel. And then blow it off with compressed air. So here's the nice clean ring gear, crown gear. And set the carrier on top of that. Just swishing these bolts around in some Varsol to clean them a bit. And now I'm blowing them dry with compressed air. Everything's all cleaned up and I'm ready to install the crown gear onto the carrier flange. So I'll just lift this up. There's one bolt started. We're going to put 4 bolts on here dry. And later on I'll remove them and I'll put Loctite. With an 11/16 socket, I'm just running these bolts in little by little, making sure I pull the gear on straight. I'm putting permanent red Loctite on these bolts. And I'm just going to run that one in like that without tightening it. And then I'll take out this other original bolt, put Loctite on it. Like that. Another bolt here. Take this one out. Loctite on him. 3 more to go. There. Now I'm going to take this over to the vise with the axle in it and put it on the axle and torque these bolts to specs. Now I'm torquing the ring gear to 45 foot-pounds. Final torque, 50 foot-pounds. Mark them as I go. Looks like I got them all. So I'm just going to go right around like this. Double check. Didn't miss one. There we have it. Ready to install in the housing. I'm just going to lubricate these side bearings a bit. Everything's coming out again, so it's nothing critical. I'll flip it over, do the other side. Put a little gear oil on there, just so it's not dry. And I won't lubricate the gears, because I'm going to be putting gear marking compound on here after, because I'm sure, this is just a wild guess. It's a total wild guess. I didn't try to set the pinion depth or anything like that, because there's no numbers on my new pinion. So you can't really calculate anything. So I'm treating it like a 0, and I'm using the original shim, which incidentally, it's the same thickness as the standard stock shim, so it might be okay. So now I just gotta pop this in there. Whoa. Without getting my fingers in there, of course. So now there we go. That's going in pretty good. Wiggle the pinion a little bit. Okay, so I got it started, and it's tight in the case, which is good, because you definitely don't want it to be loose in the case. And quite often, these 2 holes here, they're for a spreader, like in a real shop that's doing differentials all the time, or at the dealership, they've got a big spreader, and you can spread this housing to make it easier to put this in. But these are the original shims that were on here. Just make sure there's nothing binding. Seems like we're already in the pinion a little bit. Okay. So let's keep hitting this. It's going in nicely. That's what we want. So just turn the pinion a bit. Yeah. See how it goes. Yeah. Lots of backlash there, but it's not all the way on yet. You have to watch this doesn't tip ahead on me. So these are the caps. They're previously marked. We have the lazy ass here and the lazy ass here. So that's the cap for here. And here we have the upright ass here and the upright ass here. So that's the cap for here. I'm going to put a little bit of engine oil, my squirt can here. That's just 1540 engine oil on the threads, because you can't get an accurate torque on a dry bolt. You want accurate torque. So put these on here. It's not started properly. It's in the hole. Put this one on here. There. Here. I'm just making sure the bolts are started properly. First of all, there. So all the bolts are started. I'm just going to run them in with the impact here a little bit. I'll just check that I don't have a bind or anything in the pinion. No bind. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it with the pinion 1 revolution, just because I like to do that. I'll turn the whole thing 1 revolution. And the backlash don't feel bad. Of course, I'll measure it later. That's 1 revolution there. But I'm just going to torque these to specs. The torque specs are 80 to 90 foot-pounds. So I'm just torquing these to 80 for now. Okay, so let's have a look at that now. It's torqued in place. It's turning freely. I really cannot learn any more until I use the gear marking compound. I could check the end play on the carrier, but I'm not going to do that this video. It's the end of this video. I'm done for now. I think the backlash is a little excessive, but we'll deal with that later. The first thing we got to do is use gear marking compound and see where it's running, how it's running. That's it for today. In conclusion, the pinion preload is right on. The differential carrier bearings have good preload. Everything is turning smoothly. In my next video, I will use gear marking compound to see how the teeth are meshing. The gear patterns will tell me if the carrier is properly shimmed and if the pinion depth is correct. I will show all the details. I hope you like it. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow over and out.